I just went on the most incredible hike of my entire life. This unique coastline is too fragile to sustain high-density tourism, but the landscape looks roughly like it would have 1,000 years ago, maybe 30,000 years ago. I don't know. Very unique history of this place. This is an area of South Africa that was actually given by South Africa at the time independence. The truth is, no other countries recognized this independence. In fact, they all called out South Africa for trying to institutionalize racial segregation. I learned this all from our guide Matt, who grew up vacationing with his family on this coastline as a kid, and he spends so much of his time here that he literally befriended an eel. What are you doing with your life? This guy's out here making friends with like prehistoric water creatures. Walking this trail was delicious, or lekker, as they say in South Africa. We perched on top of cliffs, we navigated crashing waves, and stood under waterfalls that dropped directly into the ocean, all the while volleying around conversations with guys in real meaningful and consequential moments in their lives. This was lightly facilitated by the birthday boy, Boyd Varty. He wrote a book called The Lion Tracker's Guide to Life, which is incredible. I will link to it below. It's very short. It's like 2 bathroom sessions long. I'll also link to below and in the first comment his interview with on Tim Ferriss's podcast, which has some amazing stories in it. Over 4 days, Boyd deftly guided us through a death and rebirth rite of passage as we took breaks on the trail, and the last day was about upper limits. So he said that the nervous system, I like this take on this. Have you heard of upper limits? Like that ceiling, like it gets so good that you have to that you actually sabotage yourself. His take on this is the nervous system is almost uncomfortable with how good it is, and so it knocks us down. We subconsciously will sabotage. Things will be going so well that we'll subconsciously sabotage because it actually feels unsafe how good it can feel. This was on the last day, and I really like that. And his one piece of really practical guidance that has stuck with me since then is to start to dissolve those upper limits. You pay attention to when it's good. You bring awareness to when it's good. Just like pull those moments apart, notice them, cultivate more awareness of when it's good. I'll just leave that there. I think that's a really, I think that's a really strong point. And the whole thing guided by an expert in the region like Matt made it even more of a legit adventure. First of all, I didn't have to figure everything out because he had it on lock. But sometimes even he was like, actually, the water's too high. We can't go the way that we had planned. And we gotta find a new way to do it. An adventure ensued. Adventure! I wanna shout out Epica for sponsoring this video. Look at this little world traveler. I took 2 bags on this trip, and one of them was just my airplane bag, in which I had this, the Epica 35.5 watt TA205. With this one thing, I had multiple USB-C, multiple USB-A, and every kind of world connection that I needed on the trip to be able to get stuff Done. Epica make just perfectly designed little travel adapters. That's what you need to know about them. So shout out to Epica, I'll link to them below. Please use my link if you need one of these. Get some for a friend. These are like 20 bucks. These are super affordable and the best of the best out there. Epica travel adapters, link below at this time code. Listen, on this channel, I haven't shared a lot about my personal life. It's there in the cracks and the crevices of these, 40-minute backpack reviews. It is. And in the tone and the energy of my presentation probably as well for those really paying attention. But the truth is I'm in it. I'm in it and have been for a while. And with a divorce. My first child coming into full-blown adolescence, which is like this time of letting go in some ways, but learning how to still hold your child, with the death of my brother, my only sibling, and the aging of my parents, who now have the grief of losing a son, and there's a lot going on. So this trip came at a very real moment in my life, and I'll just tell you one story. We were coming from these grassy hills onto rock ledges floating over the water, and Matt stopped us and prepared us to be silent for the next leg of the walk as he sort of brought us around this corner and into a cave. It's known as Bessie's Cave. It was named after this 7-year-old girl who swam to shore after a shipwreck killed her mom, her dad, her siblings, her entire life. She came back to the cave again and again to reflect and mourn and remember. And I was remembering my brother in that cave. I was thinking about how much he would have loved this trip. I was thinking about all sorts of things that I wasn't going to get to do with him. And also just remembering and touching that part of grief where it's painful and it's longing, but there's a lot of heart in it. We were sitting in this circle, and I forget what my prompt was supposed to be, because in my head it was just like pounding. I have lost so much. And the acceptance of that, the allowing that felt like surrender, but a good kind of surrender. It felt healing. I've got more to say about this trip. I probably will be talking about it for a little while. I want to talk about the gear that I brought. I want to talk about how I filmed it potentially and stuff like that. So holler in the comments if you have specific questions that can help me put together what I get into next. But I do want to shout out three things. First of all, to my shoe partner, Lynks. I would not have been able to survive without your shoes on this trip. I found them to be the perfect kind of shoe for this kind of long walking over lots of different terrain. Needed something grippy on the rocks. So thank you, Lynks, and glad I got a few pairs for some of the other guys as well. Second of all, Six Moons Designs is an ultralight backpack company that I've partnered with on this trip, and it almost feels like they designed this bag custom for me. I'm not gonna tell you about it right now. There'll be a link below probably for more information, but it's not out yet. But subscribe to the channel because there's gonna be more on that, and check the link below because there might be an email list to be notified or something like that. Third of all, Wild Child Africa is who we did this tour with. I think it's Matt and his brother's company or something. I don't know. Matt was incredible. And the move on this, okay, for any of you who can do this, is to rally together a group of people and you book an entire trip, your group, right? The second move is just find a buddy, go, book something where you're gonna be on the trip with a handful of other incredible people who decided to spend their holiday hiking through fucking ancient landscape that looks like the most incredible landscape I've ever been in. I'll link to Wild Child below. And final thing is just happy birthday, Boyd. Thanks, man. Thanks for putting this together. I hope so many people buy your book because it's so good. And you're even better in person. All right, links to everything below. Thanks for watching. Brew.